Thanks, Jeremy. What I want to take you through today is a bit of our roadmap and some of the new things we're doing. But the title of the session was very deliberately chosen. Today is really about maximizing productivity through communication tools, and that just became more important than ever before, because with the whole home office piece, that's the central piece people use. So this is a statistic that has been there even before the whole crisis. Is if you as a company don't give your employees and your workers the right tools to communicate and do their job, they'll find their own. That's always been the case. And we think that's especially significant, and it's quite remarkable. If you look at some of the numbers, is 6.7 tools at work, and 2.7 of which on average are not provided by the company. And that is, of course, a problem, because it means IT departments don't deliver what people think they need in terms of doing their job. It also poses other challenges, especially when we talk about cybersecurity. That is a huge exposure and a huge risk for companies, and a key thing we need to address. And that whole thing just got a whole lot more important just last month with that. And I just want to take you through some of the huge shifts we've seen, and this is just for the month of March, when globally, and not even in all countries, and not even all at the same time. But this just shows you some of the impact things like that can have. Is on MiCollab, which is of course our PC client home working use, we saw increases between 4 times to 10x increases, especially when it comes to the teleworking piece. Our newly launched MiTeam meeting solution saw a huge uptake. Just launched, just out the gate, and we put huge load on it. There is, increases in, devices, accessories, healthcare usage for cordless phones, etc. And then also in our cloud platforms, we saw huge increases in traffic. And when you talk about a 2x, 3x increase on a cloud platform that's, sized to do a certain thing, that's a significant feat to be able to handle that kind of traffic, because you don't typically over-provision by a factor of 2 or a factor of 3 on your cloud platforms. So huge shifts in what we see, and putting much more significance on the trends that we have seen over the past years, and that we're here to talk about. Applications, contact center, etc. are at the core of all these changes that are happening. And I was talking with an analyst recently, and he basically told me, I think we just saw a shift happen in the market that would have usually taken us 2 or 3 years, and we just saw that compressed down in a matter of 4 weeks, right? And as Jeremy said, is maybe some of those people that adopted to that changing world will never go back to how they used to work before. So the success, in communication, connecting people, devices, data, making that accessible is more relevant than ever. Making it accessible independent of the location, and that is, a whole new set of challenges. And there is a whole, raft of things that you can see on this slide that we're focused on in the application segment, and that we're all trying to bring together, right? Of course, the foundation, the collaboration tools, integrations, like into CRM tools, etc. On top of that, contact center technologies, providing people with both the infrastructure to act as a contact center agent, but also exposing some of the backend tools in the contact center where they process information, where they have a knowledge base, etc., and make that accessible from home working. Then we also need to look at technologies like chatbots, artificial intelligence, to help us deal with the increased traffic on those solutions. And then, of course, we believe mobile is going to stay relevant, of course, because at some point people will start moving around again. They'll go outside, etc. And all of this coming together. And this is what we've been working towards for a number of years. And you may have seen this chart before, but it's really relevant because it's still the path we're on. We have our existing call control platforms, and we have started to integrate them with our CloudLink platform. Our CloudLink platform has been in the making now for more than 2 years. We continue to build it out. It's a set of microservices based on the latest cloud technologies. And 2019 was a very significant year in terms of launches, because we have most of our major applications, MiCollab, MiContact in our business, and we launched an application called My Voice Office mobile application. Then we launched MiTeam meetings early this year. We're going to launch a new web application for some of our platforms in a couple months' time. We are launching new applications on some of our cloud platforms. So CloudLink-based applications really permeate our portfolio today, and that's a major change from 12 months or so ago, when that was just starting to happen. Now it's all across. The beauty of that is you may not see it, you may not know it, but there is more and more of this new technology behind our applications, and I'm also going to show you a bit of an outlook of where we're headed on that front, and how we're going to keep evolving those applications. So very significant shift, and it really simplifies our approach and extends innovation, because it makes the new technology available to all of our call control platforms in some way, shape, or form. And you will see an acceleration of that throughout the remainder of the year, where we have CloudLink-based applications available on all our platforms, being at the core of all of our big applications, especially on the collaboration front, but also on the contact center front. And you will see a new set of integrations emerge that are based on some of the APIs that we've built in the back end on CloudLink, and that will enable us to accelerate as well and provide better integration into things like Office 365 or even Microsoft Teams, and some other of these cloud-based tools that are a little different to integrate, and it's a lot easier to integrate them with a cloud-based integration, the cloud-based plugin, compared to a traditional on-premise approach. So really extending that innovation. And then we have a few segments that we were particularly focused on, and we have launched our MiTeam meeting solution early in the year, because we believe collaboration is one of the key things at the core of communication. So good collaboration tools, we believe, are a huge productivity driver. And that, of course, has just gotten much, much more relevant than maybe a few months ago with this acceleration during the crisis. So what did we launch in February? It's our MiTeam meetings product. It's our real-time video collaboration product. It does seamless video collab, chat. There's a persistent document store, all the things that you would typically expect from a video collaboration solution. There's two things that we're doing differently, and where we are also trying to innovate. So first of all, our MiTeam meeting solution is integrated with our broader communication infrastructure. So if you use MiCollab, for example, and you're used to it, it's completely seamlessly integrated into the application, where you can escalate to a multi-party video session, where some of the chat content, etc., appears in both applications and is shared, where you have integrated workflows, all the way through your day-to-day communication needs. So this integration and really providing an end-to-end platform instead of a piecemeal approach where you have, a phone or a mobile from one and then a meeting solution from another. There is always complexity at those seams, and we can eliminate that complexity with an integrated solution. But we also don't want to stop there, because we believe that integration also puts us in a unique spot to really innovate. And where we think we need to innovate is making meetings more productive. And that's where we embarked on a project also with the famous design house, Frog Design, a bit more than a year ago. And we really tried to identify, where are the problem areas in meetings. And while meetings, while people spend a lot of time in meetings, most of them actually feel the most productive outside of meetings. That means a lot of time is spent in meetings that doesn't necessarily deliver the value that people expect. And that's exactly, where we're focused on in terms of, productivity and making things seamless. And that's our 2020 priorities. There's a lot of things on there that are kind of foundational things we have to do, from making inviting to meetings simpler, recording solutions, integrations, etc., rolling out across our different platforms. But then the innovation and making things more productive. Making things more productive, as I said, is two angles. The one is that integration with a broader solution. But then we also believe that we have the technology and we have a few ideas of innovating around more productivity with things like meeting transcriptions and some tools around both planning a meeting and following up on actions in meetings, etc. There is a raft of features and innovations that we're going to add to our solution that we feel will make meetings fundamentally more productive. As I said, a very significant launch for us in a year. We have seen huge uptake, probably one of the fastest uptakes ever on an application launch that we've done in terms of usage. Of course, helped and accelerated through this crisis. We also see a continued strong need for just UC tools, foundational, solid UC tools to help people with their voice communication, with their mobile communication, with their chat, etc. And the evolution around that is really around infrastructure and delivering that more efficiently from cloud frameworks such as GCP. And also on the management authentication front to integrate with Azure, Active Directory, two-factor authentication for security, and then a much more simplified deployment with a more centralized management to support those larger rollouts and to support bigger organizations to more efficiently deploy these foundational UC tools that, in my eyes, everybody should have. Every single user on one of our platforms should have a soft phone nowadays to be able to work from home, should have a client to chat, interact, and stay in touch with people, even when they're not in the office and sitting next to each other. So really important technology on that front, and really to keep pushing on that front. So I talked a lot about customer or interactions within the company, because all of the collaboration and the UC piece is mostly focused, for employees to communicate with each other. The other important aspect is really customer communication. How do you interact efficiently with your customers? And that landscape is rapidly changing as well now. The traditional contact center and the use cases for that is I've heard an unprecedented amount of talk, even for things that in the past you couldn't imagine to do in a contact center, like government agencies, like visiting a doctor, telemedicine, all of that. All of those discussions are around a contact center, putting customers in touch with the business, with an institution, with a person in an organized way and form. And it's not just about voice, it's about multimedia. And that will put an unprecedented strain also on both on the technology front as well as on the people front. There will be more interactions that go through those remote contact centers, and it will be very hard to find the people. So there's two aspects of technology we absolutely need to focus on. One, providing the contact center to enable all of those interactions and to be able to handle the traffic efficiently. The other big focus area we absolutely have to focus on is how do we make the tools more efficient so that agents are being helped by this technology so that they can spend their time more efficiently and be able to cope with the increased volume. And that is really something we're focused on, and we've come a long way over the past years. Historically, if you only think a few years back, also we as Mitel as a company, we've been focused on traditional voice-based call centers, right? IVRs, reporting, voice routing. Those were essentially the core things that we were all focused on. That has changed significantly in our portfolio over the past couple of years. We made a lot of investments. We have new partnerships in place where we now really have the full stack. It's not just about IVR and voice anymore. It's true omni-channel. We got true omni-channel solutions. And then, of course, we have added to the full stack. We now have with Mitel WFO a full-blown, very competitive interaction recording solution with quality monitoring. We have WFM solutions. We have outbound solutions. So really the full stack of an omni-channel contact center we have within our portfolio. And we continue to build out that portfolio with some significant steps in that direction this year. The focus on cloud delivered frameworks, etc., is one of them that's very high up there, and whether that's more focused on Azure and other things, or it's focused on GCP. We approach it from different angles on different parts of the portfolio, but the overall direction is very clear. We want to be able to deliver our applications from those big public cloud frameworks. Reporting and dashboarding modernization. Also, making MiContact Center Business available on the MX1 so that we have one contact center that is available across our portfolio that supports the latest and greatest in terms of artificial intelligence technology is a key step for us to just make that functionality available across the portfolio. Mitel Workforce Optimization was a very significant launch for us. It is today supported on both MyVoice Business and MX1. We're adding our other platforms on that front. And it's a really full-blown interaction recording and workforce optimization solution, one of the best in the market that money can buy on that front. Very significant step forward from us from what we previously had, and we really can compete in that segment. And then, of course, a continued roadmap also on MiContact Center Enterprise. really focusing around addressing some of the key gaps and key things we need to focus on to continue to evolve the solution. So very strong roadmap on contact center collaboration. Parting thoughts. I think the real change over some of the previous years is we've always met and talked about applications, and the applications were sort of an attachment to the broader communication solution. I think that is really changing, and applications are becoming the true heart of business communications. The platform's still there, the infrastructure is still there, and you obviously need it to communicate, but it's really more about the application. Behavioral shifts, on video adoption, remote collab, there was still a lot of resistance. There was a lot of people that said, you know what, I'd rather meet people. I don't want this web conferencing stuff, video, I'm not sure, I wouldn't use it from home, etc. Well, that has changed significantly over the past few weeks, and most people we talk to actually think that there's going to be a lasting impact on that. So really that change in how people had to work for a period of time will change the perception of those types of tools. And I've never seen so many people use multi-party video collab tools, for example, even for their private purposes, to have private dinner parties or other things. And that is really changing the perception of those tools in people's minds. Those changes will also affect the customer communication. We fundamentally believe that. I mentioned it. There is new use cases for contact center. There is going to be new business. There is going to be areas where in the past people said, well, you know what, that's going to be in person. We're going forward. That's going to be contactless. And that means it's going to be handled through a contact center. So massive changes on that front. And then, of course, we as Mitel, we continue to be there for you. We deliver integrated solutions. We don't just do one thing. This is what we do, a fully integrated solution that both gives you the infrastructure and the core platform. We also want to give you the collaboration tools, and we want to give you all the tools that you will need for implementing customer experience and customer interactions, and really providing that full stack of business communication and making that seamless is what we are all about. And with that, I'll hand it back to class, I guess.